Top of the day, everyone. How's everyone feeling?
We feel good.
All right.
That's right.
Thank you to the Augusta Museum of History for all that you do for this community. And when you become a member, you really get to learn and experience some wonderful things. And the great part about it is, like, no matter what the age, you can come and really learn a lot. And they do a lot of great work here. This staff work their buns off. They really do. And they're always trying to think of something fantastic to present to the members and to the citizens of Augusta. So you're in a great place when you're in the Augusta Museum of History, I can promise you that. So great that we have classes here for the James Brown Academy of Music pupils. We have our classes right over in the classroom area, although we use the whole facility. And I feel good having the classes here. The exhibit is right here, so they get to learn from the exhibit, but they also get to learn other stuff too as they walk through here, and we do everything that we do right here in this museum. And it's a safe place for the young kids to be in the afternoon so that they can do something very constructive and something that will help them go through life and be a great contribution to society just by teaching music. Any music educators in here? No, not today. One. Oh, she just put her hand up with her little finger up. Oh, so when my dad, he talked about, music education so much because he only was able to go to the 7th grade because of being from a poor family. My grandparents were not very well educated, and so couldn't afford to have him not go to school, or have him to go to school as opposed to work. So, but he would always say, if you put an instrument in a child's hand, you can make a miracle happen. You can change that child's life. And he said that because he was the one that it happened to. It happened to him. My grandfather his father, Joe Brown, put a harmonica in his hand. And he would just go out in the woods because he was an only child living in, he was growing up in South Carolina in Barnwell County. And he would just go out there and play with the doodle bugs, as they call them, little lightning bugs. He would play with them and play his harmonica.
Can you believe I can play harmonica? I'm going to play this, okay?
I can believe it.
You
Go ahead.
I'm going back to Grand Ole Opry.
Where did you get that? Where did you learn?
This is the first instrument my dad bought me, and I've never played it on the stage. Nobody think I can play something like this, a harmonica. Is that something?
And one evening, my grandfather came home with a 3-leg wooden piano. He had found this piano, and he brought it home. And my father just learned from hearing. God gave him an ear to hear. He wasn't able to go to J.A.M.P, as we call my program, J.A.M.P. He wasn't able to go to an after-school program. Our program is after school year round. We do it through the school year, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and every other Saturday, and then in the summertime for 6 weeks. So he didn't have that opportunity. But the gift that God gave him still continues to give. And in so many ways. One way other than J.A.M.P, which is a passion for me, because that's the one that I created, because my dad talked about it so much, so I felt like that was him telling me this is what he wanted me to do. But we've also created the Don't Be a Dropout Scholarship. That's a song from my dad, Don't Be a Dropout, that he made in early 1970. And he literally actually went on a Don't Be a Dropout campaign tour. It was endorsed by Lyndon B. Johnson, and if I'm right, I hope I'm right with the right president, 1970, somebody help me with my history. I'm sorry, that's who it is, I'm sorry, it was Nixon. That endorsed that campaign, and he took that on tour, and just to speak to young kids and use this song so that they could understand how important it was to get an education. It didn't matter where you came from, you could learn, and you could take that what you learn and be better in society and be a good contribution to society. And that was his big push. Education, something that he didn't have, that he knew that not every young person is going to get an opportunity to sports, or maybe they are not as academic, as another child. But music, you could learn. And it's already been documented that it helps young kids in science, math, and reading. Music can literally change a child's life. And like I said, we've seen that. But we're giving out these Don't Be a Dropout scholarships to high school students who are going on to college. Last year, we were able to give out 5 $1,000 scholarships. This year, we will give out 10 $1,000 scholarships. And we will do that on July 10th when J.A.M.P students have their J.A.M.P cert. It's their end of the year program concert here at the museum that we have every year, the second week in July. It's free, and the kids get to show their family, friends in the community what they've learned. And it's always a fantastic show. They always do a great job, and their parents, a lot of times, when they first come in, they're really surprised and shocked to see how well their kids can do. But that's just a testament to what my father said. You spend a little time, give them some love, and show them a skill. They can learn it, and you gotta consistently stay on the kids. I don't teach any type of music. I'm just Mama D. I keep them in line as best as I can, because I feel like this is my God's calling. This is my purpose, to be a light for these young kids in any way I can. My father used to always tell me, you do not know what it is to grow up the way I grew up. He would always remind me that I wasn't born in what he was born into. And I had a duty to pay it forward and to never forget that. So that's why I do what I do with the young kids. Because if we don't make that deposit, we can't make a withdrawal. We can't expect them to do what needs to be done if they haven't been given the correct training. It would be unfair. It's just like going on a job. If the job doesn't give you the training that they're asking you to do, how can you do it? To the best of your abilities, to the best of your potential. So, that was so very important to my father, and that's why I stick with those principles that I've learned from him. I recently have decided to, which was a push for me, because I was so very happy doing J.A.M.P. We also have the James Brown Family Historical Tour. It's actually a bus tour that we take people around so that they can see where my dad grew up, where we lived on Walton Way, where he had businesses, and give that history over here in Augusta. And he was born, like I said, in Snelling, South Carolina, Barnwell County, but he was raised in the Augusta area. I decided that, okay, it's a time for me to do it another way, to live this legacy and do this legacy work in another shape, form, or fashion. And my executive assistant would always travel with me when I have to go out and, you know, pick up accolades or speak or whatever the case may be. And I would always give him a story. And he was like, after about a year hearing my stories, growing up James Brown, he was like, you need to do something with these stories. And I said, nah, you know, I really wasn't into writing a book. And I think that I felt like I was doing enough just by giving what I got from my father to these young kids, investing into the kids, you know. I was able to go on the road with my dad because I did his hair. I didn't even go to school to do hair, but I had to learn how to do his hair. And there was a science to it. You don't just roll his hair any kind of way. He knew how he wanted his hair rolled. And I would listen to my dad make calls all over the world and how he would handle his business and how dedicated he was. And we're talking about a man who is in hip hop the most sampled artist. Sampled meaning they take a little bit of his music or a little bit of his song and loop it 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 and loop it, and they got themselves a song with some rap over it. He is the most sampled artist. He was the #1 artist that President Lyndon B. Johnson called after the assassination of Dr. Martin Luther King to speak to the masses, to tell people to stop looting and fighting and tearing down their cities and churches and schools where they had to go to work and live and grace their children and have their families live. We're talking about a man who was asked by Oxford University to come and speak just before he passed away, December 25th, 2006. He wasn't able to make that appointment, but he was requested. He only went to the 7th grade. But this is a man who was able to do all of these things and perform with Pavarotti, the top opera man in the world. I bring this cotton because that's the thing that he had to do when he left school. He had to pick cotton. And he would always keep cotton in the house. Exactly. He didn't want to forget where he had come from. He was very serious about it. It was a serious time. It was survival. That's what he called it. So he didn't want to forget why he go out here and travel all over the world in his private jet, performing for prime ministers and kings and queens and presidents all over the world. He didn't want to forget when he came back home, where he really started from. So that stayed in the house all the time. But he went from that to receiving his own doctorate at the 125th commencement convocation for Payne College on May 6, 2007. They named him Dr. James Brown. And I was there to be able to see that and receive that. And my dad wasn't a perfect man. His name is James, not Jesus. But I do know that he did not lose his faith in God. None of us are perfect. We might not like to talk about what we have going on because we're all private. Don't nobody know us. But everybody in the world knew him. And believe me when I tell you, you know, everything ain't always what it is. And no matter what you read and what you heard, my father knew who God was. Every room in our house, almost, he made sure the Bible was open. Because if we sat down in any room and started talking, he's going to refer to the Word. It's hard to believe sometimes artists in the world that they really live in to find time and have time for God. Most don't. But my dad did. When he came home from his tours, and he was home on a Sunday, we all had to get together and jump in that, sometimes he would drive. We jumped in the black van. He had that old van from back in 1975. We drive it. Or he called his limousine driver when as he got older and didn't want to drive, because we had to drive all the way down to Elko, South Carolina, to St. Peter Baptist Church, where he was baptized and where he went to church. So when he had the time on a Sunday and he wasn't too tired, we went to church. So I learned a lot from my dad on just being on the road with him, being at home, rolling his hair, or working at the radio station or at their office, wherever I had to be, sitting in front of him while he eat his Frosted Flakes. He had to stop doing that because diabetes caught up with him. Frosted Flakes got all kinds of sugar on it. Extra layers of sugar. So he had to go to regular Kellogg's with no sugar and slice up some bananas to put on there. Still got a little sugar, but still. I had the opportunity to go to college. I went to Wesley College in Dover, Delaware. I took up marketing because in my mind, at that age, I always wanted to work with kids. And I didn't know how the Lord was going to lead me, but here we are. Here we are. I am married with one son, one grandson, and another grand on the way. I am a happy grandmama. I'm here to tell you, when somebody told me, wait till grandma life come, you're going to really enjoy it. I really do. And I enjoy it even more because October 1st, 2020, I had congestive heart failure. The same thing that my father passed away from on December 25th, 2006. I almost died. I was at my office, sweating profusely, chest tightening up. I went to the bathroom because, Grandma always say, ain't nothing but gas. It wasn't. I was going to go home and lay down, but a sorority sister of mine said, no, you need to go to the hospital and get you an EKG. This is serious. I did. My heart was only functioning at 10%. That's a 50-50. You here or you not. But God say, nah. And I'm here. I made changes in my life because without making the changes, you make God look like a fool when he tries to save you. So I said, thank you. And I made the changes so I can live. So I can enjoy those grandkids. I'm here for questions.
Deanna, we served sweet potato pie today because you said that was something your dad really liked. Would you share a little bit about that?
Well, growing up, very poor, my father loved sweet potato pie, but of course, he didn't get to eat it as often. That was a rare specialty in my grandparents' home. And so when he got to the point where he could have as much sweet potato pie as he wanted to, he would have somebody make them. And I mean, they'd be lined up in the freezer. It'd be like 10, 15 in the freezer. So every time he home and he wanted a sweet potato pie, he'd pull a couple of them out. Not one. He'd put 2, 3 out, put it in the refrigerator. And I am guilty. I am a sweet potato pie person as well. Come around the holidays, I gotta have about 4 in my home, and one belongs to me completely. So I hope you enjoyed the sweet potato pie today. He was real Southern. He was a real Southern man. He might have traveled around the world and met the world. He had a saying that he would always say. It was one of my favorite sayings. I've been around the world twice and spoke to everybody once. Yes, ma'am.
Can you tell the story, if you know it, how Pavarotti and your dad connected?
I don't know that story, but I will tell you after the fact. My daddy talked about it like it was the best thing in the world. And you talk about a man who's been around and seen and played for all different types of people. That was one event, that was one concert that stood out into his mind. A lot of stuff didn't impress him after a while because he did so much and met so many people. But he would always talk about that one. And you could just tell when he starts to smile and all the beautiful teeth that he had to buy. He's showing them all. He was so happy. It was like an uncle at the family reunion, and the uncle that he talks about the one thing all the time. That was Dad. I mean, he loved that, and that impressed him when not much did.
You could see that in the
Yes,
movie
ma'am.
that
Showing
he was
all them
responding
beauty
to
teeth.
it.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
When he started performing in public?
Oh, wow. He was a teenager because he would do talent shows right here in Augusta at the Lenox Theater. I think that back in the day, the Majestic, he said. That's pretty old school, but you're from Augusta, you know the Majestic. But mostly, I know he talked about the Lenox because, of course, in those days they couldn't perform in certain theaters, but the Lenox was there, so that's where a lot of the black performers were performing. Yes, ma'am. Yes, sir.
That Beach Island home, is it ever going to be a museum?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. I can stand here boldly and tell you it is being worked on as you and I talk about it right now. Yes, sir. Gonna take a little minute.
Wait a minute.
Yeah. Well, you know, you gotta get a lot of things worked out when you're talking about the estate of James Brown. I'm gonna tell you something. I don't know. Maybe people know. Maybe they don't know. It took it took a little, not as long as it's taken us, because we had some other issues to deal with, but I know it took, Priscilla Presley, it took her almost 10 years to get Graceland going because she had to shut everything down after, Mr. Presley passed away, and I talk like that because that's how my daddy kind of raised me, Mr. and Miss, you know, I can say Elvis, I was a radio jock, and we played his music, but, she had to shut things down and just deal with things. And then when it was time, you know, she came back and she did it. But it was some years. It wasn't right after he passed away. So a lot of times you got to just get a lot of things worked out when you're working at a high stakes level with that type of icon. Just takes a little time. But we coming, sir. Promise you. You might hear something within this year. For next year. That's how we coming. So just hold tight. Yes, ma'am.
So I know that there is a scene in the new movie about Michael Jackson where young Michael is watching your dad dance. Did your dad and Michael Jackson have a relationship?
A very tight relationship. Yes, they did. He had a lot of respect for my father. That he used my song, my dad's song, I Got the Feeling, to go and audition for Berry Gordy from Motown when he was like 9 years old, 10 years. Yeah, he was a very young child, and he did all the dance moves because that's what he did. He studied my father.
Yes,
And
a lot of stuff from your father.
well, he studied. We don't like to say stole. We like to say studied because and that's what they've done. They studied. You know, a lot of they gotta have somebody to study in order to go out there and do it. You know, and my father was very, very happy and pleased with Michael. He felt like he did it, and he did it in a very clean and classy way. And my father, at one time, I will be honest, at one time he did have a little issue with Michael because I guess Michael was feeling himself and he didn't really talk about where he was getting it from. And him and my dad had conversation, private conversation. And after Michael even came back from Bahrain, after his issues that he had to deal with, him and my father had conversation. I can't tell you what was said, but I do know my dad still had love for him. He didn't want him to think that he didn't like him anymore. My father he didn't want him to think that, well, you did wrong, I don't want to have nothing to do with you anymore. Father wasn't that way, because he said himself, he says, look, we're not perfect, we're artists, we're human beings. But yes, there is a scene in the movie where a young boy is playing Michael, and he's in the living room dancing in front of a floor model TV, because this is certainly in the 70s in Gary, Indiana, where they grew up. And there's a black and white image on the screen, and that black and white image is my dad performing for the Tammy show. Anybody remember the Tammy show? That's what he was performing on, and that's what Michael was studying. That footwork, those dance moves.
One of the quotes that your dad had, I can't do it exactly, about as James Brown, you don't have downtime. It's just not, you're always James Brown. Was that true at home as well?
Well, it depends on who you're talking to, I guess, at home. But Dad, I think he separated from, when he was daddy or husband or, James Brown. My father's home is not like a lot of artists that have studios at their home and they record at their home. My dad didn't do that. Home was home. He came home, he ain't got to worry about getting his hair done. He can just let it go. Y'all ladies understand. He ain't had to worry about looking all pretty. He could just throw his sweatpants on and his t-shirt robe and just be home. So, now once he get on the phone and start talking business and everything, it's Mr. Brown and, it's business. But at home, he loved to watch Westerns. Oh, he was a John Wayne man.
Roy Rogers.
Yes,
Roy Rogers.
Roy Rogers. He loved watching the Westerns, like, and John Wayne was in it, he watched it, he loved it. As a matter of fact, that was something that my older sister, who's passed away now, as I said, my dad passed away on Christmas Day, 2006. So the Christmas tree that he put up is still up.
Wow.
And of course, it wasn't a real one that year, thank God. He chose it. But we let it stay up as a reminder, because Christmas Day is not the same for any of us anymore. It's just not. But we still have the Christmas tree up, and some of the gifts, we still have. And my sister had given him some Western VHSs, because he was still using the VHS at the time. And but he didn't get a chance to see him, but he probably had already seen him.
And you see pictures of him in cowboy hats and big belt buckles, kind of. Was that influenced by his love of Westerns? And
Yes, well, my dad had his own kind of way of fashion.
yeah.
I mean, we're still talking about, he had his own eye, and he was, and yes, he was a cowboy. He loved his boots. He loved his cowboy hats. But he got to get his hair done first. Then he'll put the cowboy hat on, because when you take the cowboy hat off, it's got to look good. But yeah, he was Southern. He was Southern. He was born Selling, South Carolina, May 3rd, 1933, in Barnwell County, South Carolina. He was a Southern man to the core. And that was the thing that was so cool with Chadwick Boseman, who played him in the movie Get On Up, because Chadwick was from Anderson, South Carolina, right up the road. So it was important, because he had the Southernness in him too. I remember him coming with Tate Taylor, the director, to Augusta, spend the weekend with us so that he could sit down and learn some things. And he was so Southern. My husband and I had a seafood restaurant at the time and we took him over there, and he wanted a fish sandwich with hot sauce and mustard. That's Southern.
How old was he when he passed away?
My father was 73 when he passed away.
He looked so healthy at the concert.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, he was 73. The last concert that he actually did was over in the UK. It was in London, and he sang at this event, and he had a London choir behind him. It's on YouTube. Thank God for YouTube. Oh my goodness, I've been seeing some footage of my dad I've never seen before that people are uploading from all over the world. But he performed the last song that my dad sang on stage in public was His Eyes on the Sparrow. It wasn't none of his songs. His Eyes on the Sparrow, that's the very last song that he sang before he passed, and it was in London with the London choir over there. It is on YouTube. But the videos, like I say, it's like amazing. A lot of the old videos that people, I guess, are finding in their garages or in their grandma's attics or wherever they find in these old videos, they're popping up on YouTube. A video came out recently of my father and Reverend Sharpton leaving the White House to do a press conference, where they always do the press conference behind the White House. And this was January 1983, and it was when my father and Reverend Sharpton went to talk to President Ronald Reagan and Vice President Bush about making Martin Luther King Jr. a holiday. And it was amazing. I sent it to Reverend Sharpton, and they put it on MSNBC like the next day. And it was just amazing to see. I mean, my father, we're still talking about a man who does not have the education, but because of his influence on people and through the music and how powerful music is universally, he was able to speak and to cut through a lot of politics and reach the people. He could do that, especially in his music. Especially in his music. He cut through a lot of that. I mean, my father and Mr. Strom Thurmond were friends.
Wow.
I've gone to events with my dad, and I went to Strom Thurmond's 91st birthday party in Washington, D.C. when Clinton was the president, and my dad went because he was invited, and he sang "I Feel Good," and yeah, we was.
Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Strom. Happy birthday to you.
Yeah, we were celebrating Strom Thurmond's birthday. After Mr. Thurmond passed, his wife, Nancy, his widow, Nancy Thurmond, she still kept in contact with Dad, of course, and invited us down to the Charleston area, Hiawatha Islands, where they were, because worked on a program or a foundation that helped kids with cancer, and they were raising some funds, and so they asked Dad to come, and so we all went down, and you know, it was with their family, Strom Thurmond Jr., who was right here in Aiken. I mean, my dad, anybody, everybody, made no difference. He'd drive the car, he'd come down Broad Street, get out. He'd go down in the hood, get out. He wasn't scared. I mean, he says, these are people. And these are the people who helped me be who I am. Why should I be
Had so many tributes given to him over the years, everything from, I guess it was entertainer, well, the Grammy that he got, you know, as like a Lifetime Achievement Award. There's a movie that was made by Chadwick Boseman, who starred.
Yeah, we mentioned that.
Is there anything on the horizon that might be planned in the future, that might be something very special?
Yes.
You might be willing to talk about.
I am very willing to talk about it. So, when my assistant was taking me on those trips, when they was going on those trips, and they was, you know, I was telling all those stories, he, like I said earlier, I told you, he said that you really should do something with these stories, and I felt like, hey, I was doing enough when I'm working James Brown Academy of Music pupils. When I'm not traveling around the world, I'm down here at this museum with the kids. Well, we are in development for a Broadway musical. And we did a workshop with it, full production in Atlanta, October 2024. We had rave reviews. We've even had interest to bring it to the West End in London. Wow. So we're in development with it as I speak to you right now. So keep your ears and eyes open. We're going to do some regional things. Anybody that understands Broadway and how that theater stuff works, we're going to do some regional. We're going to do.
We got theaters here.
Well, of course, once we get it in development and together, you know, I certainly would not. I would not overlook Augusta. I mean, even if we, you know, bring it here for a couple of days, I wouldn't overlook Augusta. But we're going to mount it up. We're looking to mount it up again in Atlanta, and so later this fall. So you can follow us. Just Google James Brown Family Foundation, or if you're on social media, we're there too. Just keep listening in the news. You'll hear about it. If you follow like Playbill and Broadway News and those kind of things, they've already put it out that we're in development. So we're going to definitely make sure our Augusta family knows. You had a question?
Yes. Years ago, and even as you speak about how your father, Mr. Brown, went out and he spoke amongst a lot of people. He even went to the hood, as you said. But I know there was a time that my parents met him, and we were at the airport, the Augusta airport, and they met him. They said, "Oh, James Brown," and they were so excited. He took the time to speak with them and gave them his autograph, and I'm like, who are y'all talking to over there? Oh, that's James Brown. They were so excited. I mean, because he touched the lives of many people. So I just say that to say that he was personal, I guess, when he needed to be to the people, and that was great.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, he was. He performed for all types of top people around the world, but he didn't forget where he came from.
Right. That's right.
Barnwell, South Carolina born, in Augusta, Georgia raised. There's a song that he did the last 10 years of his life that sums it all up, and it's beautiful. And you can check it out on YouTube. It's called Georgia Lina. That's like Carolina, but Georgia Lina. It's a beautiful song, and it just wraps up his whole life.
Thank you.
You all have something to look forward to with Mr. Brown. We are proudly in keeping his statue here at the museum. He's being very well taken care of. But wait till you see when it goes back. It's called the James Brown Linear Park. It's going to be right beside the Commons, and it's going to be spectacular. There's going to be a water fountain that will be timed to his music, and it will be played at certain times of the year. His albums will be used as cover for Shade. All the different albums that he did, special albums, not compilations, but his stuff. But you wait till you see it. It's long overdue. Yes, and we have this here. We're very honored, but it's long overdue. The Augusta's finally getting their act together.
If you've been to Las Vegas and saw those water fountains with the lights and the music and everything, so that's what it's going to be in downtown Augusta. Check that out.
One more round for Mr.